Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new video from me in about what, a month? But school kind of got in the way, but since I'm kind of free now, I'm able to do this. So let's begin. Now, over at E3 this year, DICE revealed that their brand new project is going to be Star Wars Battlefront. Not Battlefront 3, but a remake of Battlefront. And at first, I was excited. I was so pumped because really at that time, I didn't care what it was gonna be. As long as it's Star Wars Battlefront, the game is gonna be amazing, I thought. But then I kind of got thinking to myself, and I kind of worried a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute, what if this project could be bad? What if they screw it up? Oh no. So I wrote down at least five things that I would like in the next Star Wars Battlefront, and I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to be having Star Wars Battlefront 2 footage playing while I'm talking about this, so this is basically just me going over five things that I want in the game. So number five is to keep instant action. For those of you who haven't played Star Wars Battlefront, instant action basically puts you right into the game. You don't have to do story mode. If you don't want to do, you can do instant action. You can get right onto the battlefield. You can play with your friends. You can do anything you want to. You can do space combat missions. You can do Jedi missions. You can do anything you want to. And it was fun. It was a fun, convenient way to get right into the action and to play with a bunch of friends. Number four, and this is kind of a little bit similar to number five, but model after Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Not even kidding here. One of my favorite games of all time. I love the split screen action that me and my friends would play with all the time. I love the land and the space combat. I love the lightsaber battles. I love the story. It was so good. So, model after Battlefront 2. Number three is to have an online co-op mode or an offline co-op mode. Doesn't really matter. So what I thought to myself is, how can they do a co-op mode? And I thought to myself, current games that have offline and online co-op, which mainly include Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3, even though Uncharted 2 doesn't have offline co-op, it has online co-op, and Resistance 2. That's what I kind of want the online co-op to be in this game, if they include any kind of co-op, which I want them to do. So similar to Uncharted 2 and 3 would mean that you kind of have, it's kind of like Horde mode from Gears of War 2, but there's a group of enemies, you got to take them down in either maybe a time limit or maybe a certain amount of enemies you got to take down, or you got to do a certain object. Like for example, you got to take plans and ship them off to another planet, but at the same time, the rebels or the Imperials are coming after you. I think that co-op is a really fun feature. Keep multiplayer, but I also kind of want a co-op feature. And for the way that you would model it after Resistance 2 is kind of like a story co-op. You know, kind of the same way also with Uncharted 2 and 3 when they had a non-story co-op and they had a story co-op, which basically means that there were five missions and each of them had a particular story to it. Number two, if, and this is a strong if DICE can use it, I highly suggest it. Use the alpha from Factor 5 Star Wars Battlefront 3 and model it after them. Now, the main thing that I mean by this is the space to land and land to space combat slash transportation. Because in the alpha trailer that we were able to see, I believe in May or June, right before E3, is that you would have been able to get into a vehicle like a TIE fighter and get off the land, fly into space, land into an enemy like a Star Destroyer, land there, and then move on your merry way, either destroying the ship or destroying enemies on the ship or doing anything you want to. That amazed me. That amazed me so much that if DICE can actually do this, I highly suggest them to do that because you would be going from land combat to space combat. You wouldn't have to do one mission or the other mission. You'd be combining both into one. And number one, the number one thing that I want this new Battlefront by DICE to do is to keep third person. That's it. That's number one. I like first person and everything, but in my opinion, Star Wars is about the characters. And if you don't see the characters, then you're not really getting that full Star Wars experience, in my opinion. In my opinion. So what made Battlefront so unique is that you can have first person if you want to. You can also have third person, which I absolutely loved because I was able to see my Wookiee or my rebel or my stormtrooper running around and shooting people. It's really small compared to the other things that I put on here, but at the same time, in my opinion, it's really important to me. And a bunch of and it's an important feature to other people too. Will I give it a really bad score if it doesn't have third person? No. Because if the gameplay is good, then the game is good. But that's just one small thing that I want to have in the game. And it's my number one thing too. So those are 5 things that I want in DICE's new Battlefront. Again, it's a remake, so we're not particularly sure what they're exactly going to do. Are they going to model it after the previous games, or are they going to do their own thing? DICE did say that they did not want a reskin of Battlefield, which I love them for saying that because it won't be a rehash. It won't be, a skinned Star Wars characters onto a Battlefield like game. I love that. I absolutely love that they're going to do their own thing. We'll just have to see for a new trailer to come.